very well deserved income that we make. Um, Funniest thing is most of the young stylists have no clue of the amount of income you can actually generate in this industry. Um, Most of us have worked at some salons where uh, there's usually just one stylist who carries the whole bulk of the salon. And because of that, a lot of the newer stylists don't get as much time, or uh, they don't have the access to as many walk-ins as they used to. There are actually a lot of stylists that are out of work also. Um, and I mean, we have to realize that sometimes we are going to have to do some free services. Sometimes we are going to have to roll with the punches and move a little bit in a different direction to succeed and to stay around. You had a lot of salons in the 80s and 90s, and first decade of 2000, um, really built on a premise of excess. Uh, you saw a lot of smaller salons expand their services. You saw them expand to some services that we knew uh, really weren't as good for the customer as some of us were saying. And because of that, we had a lot of backlash on that. A lot of backlash on that. One thing that we can explain to people is we do give them that area where they can relax. They can come to the salon and just be themselves and sit around and just hang out. In the black culture, the salon was always a meeting place, a place for people to get together and exchange ideas and talk about what happened last week in the newspaper. But I noticed that a lot of the young stylists don't read the news. You have to be up on current events so you can talk about something other than the club, or at least be educated in the conversations that you do have, and maybe hopefully enlighten someone instead of offending them. I've had customers that would go one-on-one with me for hours in debates, and we actually enjoyed it. It wasn't anything that was bad. We knew that this appointment was going to be like that, so we were always sort of prepared. We'd go over our information the day before the appointment, and we'd actually have verbal sparring during the whole appointment. It was amazing. She actually had me come and speak at her book club about what it's like to be a ethnic person in this industry, in the area of the industry that I've thrived, which has usually been the more professional, more area of the industry, uh, more mainline. I've always been with bigger companies. I've always worked for larger manufacturers, so it's been an image that you have to uphold as an educator, not just in the cosmetology schools, but in working for companies, and making sure that you believe in what you represent. Uh, Finding a company like that is really hard nowadays. I mean, they're there. They're definitely there, and they're definitely hiring. But the hiring pool is getting smaller and smaller. A lot of these younger stylists don't want to take the time to pay their dues that we did in our old days. You know, we knew that if you were going to work for a company, you had to put in your time. You had to start out in the back room shampooing and handing pins and stuff like that in shows, which is actually the fun part of the industry. That backstage industry is so exciting and so motivating to be back there and being at the ground roots of building something into a show that people enjoy. Is really something that I miss. We will be starting to do some of that with this company. the Cosmetology Exchange. It's very important to let everyone know that the reason that we started this company was because the industry is changing. The new stylists are not getting what they need to be able to service the customer. They're not learning about customer service as much as they need to. More of the young people are focused on the end result, which is getting paid or the money. And this is a good business, and you can make a lot of money in this business, but that money will dry up if you cannot service your clientele. The days of triple booking and just doing something because it's trendy, those things have to change. Those things have to change, not from the customer's point of view, but from our point of view, because it's what we put out there is what they'll actually wear. How many customers come in and say, do what you get, do what you want. Most of us don't realize that that actually means do what I want you to, within reason. Working with a few young stylists now and explaining that to them. Not knowing the philosophy of hairstyling, the philosophy of this industry, it's going to be really hard for this industry to stay on top the way that it was been. So what we plan to do with the Cosmetology Exchange is to increase education as much as we can, make it accessible for any time that you want it. This is one of the first classes that will be posted. It's basically a lecture on my philosophy on the industry of cosmetology and which ways we've gone and some of the things that need to change. And we can all do that. With your commitment, we can definitely do that. One of the things that we really want to stress is increasing your knowledge, making sure that you learn something new every time you walk out of the house, every time you wake up. Most people don't realize that if you cannot think about it, if you cannot dream it, it cannot be anything that you could ever want or conceive. You have to be aware that things exist to be able to want them, to be able to strive for something better. And I think we can do that as an industry if we all come together and really work hard at it. And we are dedicated to that as an industry and as stylists. As we had said before, in the next couple of months we will be heading out on the road to go to some hair shows. We'll keep you guys up on the videos, and this is one of many to come. Thank you for tuning in, and be like water. Thank you.